sure. His minutes stay the same since this morning.
Coach, this question comes courtesy of Kendra, who couldn't be out. She's doing her show right now. But the NBA Cup tonight, she loves to ask about that. But for the guys, how much extra motivation does it give them, and how much more do you have to be cognizant of the items like the score differential, et cetera, as you're playing through the game?
I think it's big for our guys. They talk about it. It's just an extra layer of competition. These are all competitive guys already. And so being able to have that result of being able to get the payout, the Vegas, all those things play a part in our guys and how they approach the game. But, more importantly is just taking care of home.
What's the dangerous aspect of facing a team like the Nets, who are 1-10 to start the season?
It sounds like the cliche line, but they're not their record. They're not. It's not indicative of how they play. I think I've said this before. Jordy is an unbelievable coach. He's proven it time and time again. Just being able to coach international basketball, him getting the job there, and the way they buy into the culture and what he's preaching. They play hard. They play for each other. They play the right way. You have to be smart and know your personnel because these are all guys that are very capable on any given night.
Who's starting in place of Paolo tonight?
I'll let you know right before that we get going.
I know things were kind of starting to stabilize before the injury, but how much is tonight or even these next few games for however long Paolo's out still about kind of experimenting with lineups and groups as you kind of reestablish your base for however long Paolo's out?
Well, I really think that's constant. You try to figure out what lineups work, who's playing well. The consistency is more than anything. And it's tough to find consistency when guys go out, but that's the important part of, having it done by committee, that each guy that steps into whatever role they're asked to play, they play it to the best of their ability. And I think, whoever comes in for us tonight is going to be able to do that for us.
Over the last 7 games, you're 5-2, as you know. Just what's been the biggest difference in the way the team has played over that stretch versus the previous set of games?
I love that question, only because in the beginning it was focused on the outcome, and we haven't focused on the outcome whether we win or lose. And I think that's the more important part right now. I think we're focused on the process, and I won't talk about the record because it's process-driven right now. The guys learning how to play off of each other, the continuity that they have, the way that we're defending, those pieces had to get cleaned up. And I think that's what we continue to focus on is the process of how we're doing it, and these guys all understanding what they're being asked to do every single night that they play, and have we hit those marks.
Coach, what have your conversations with Paolo been like since the injury, and where are his spirits right now?
His spirits are good. Obviously he was disappointed, during the game when it happened, but post game he was the first one in the hallway, congratulating the guys, celebrating his birthday. It was a good birthday gift for him to have. His spirits are good. He's about the team. He understands it's not similar to what it was last year, and it's a moment that's something that he's experienced before being out. But he also knows the mindset that he has to have approaching it, and how much he's needed with his encouraging spirit to our guys.
You think, how are their spirits, and are they really adopting this next man up mentality like they did last year?
Absolutely. I do believe so. And no one's trying to take it one person to take it over for what he's capable of doing, because you're not replacing that. It's going to be done by committee, and these guys all understand and get that.
Coach, you're about to get a lot more acquainted with Michael Porter Jr. now that he's out of the Western Conference. What kind of challenges does he present for you guys?
His shot-making ability, he's taken, close to 9 threes a game. So just being able to get him inside the three-point line, focusing how he moves all around the court, not just coming off pin downs and movements, but his ability to handle the basketball and pick and roll. These guys look for him a lot. So just being able to get to his body, knowing he's a heavy focal point for them, but just being aware of where he is, no matter who's guarding him.
Hey, Coach, how you doing today? The Blazers broke out a 3-2 zone the other night in the third quarter, and I thought your offense found
What time was that in the third quarter?
About halfway through the third quarter.
That's a great answer for that one.
I don't remember exactly, but you countered with a double drag set that I thought really created some good looks against that 3-2 zone. Was that like a purposeful tactic against the zone to create those looks? And is that a play you could see Bane and Franz running maybe more of, with more usage the next few games with Paolo out?
Well, you see a lot of double drags throughout the NBA, right? Did you notice anything different or unique about that double drag and where the screens were set?
seemed like they were positioned more, because there's 3 on the perimeter, that you were able to line up 2 screens against either side of the perimeter and create advantages that way. So I was hoping you can maybe talk about those advantages that it creates for the team, like Anthony Black popping out of one of those screens for 3.
I think you just answered it. There you go.
There it is.
Coach, with Desmond Bain, everybody's going to remember the game-winning shot the other night, but his all-around game seems to have really stepped up in the last several games. Do you see that as him making some kind of a breakthrough?
I think it's just a reminder of what he's capable of doing more than anything. He's always been a playmaker. He's always been a team-first guy. He's always been the right decision maker. And everybody does remember that three-point shot. And what we highlighted on film actually was the charge he took. People don't remember that. That was a big play in the game. And so I think those pieces, that the highlight shot was done at the end, but there's also those winning plays, those 50-50 basketball that he's willing to dive on no matter what point of the game. Those are possessions that we can talk about the highlight shot, and that's what he's capable of doing, but he's also doing those small little things throughout the game to help you win that don't always show up on the stat sheet.
Great. All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.